Gamers are quirky, and let's be honest, sometimes we're contradictory. We say we want meaningful choices, then reload every bad outcome. We say we want non-linearity, then look up guides to follow the path that we want. We buy more games than we can possibly play. We refuse to use our strongest items, and before anyone feels called out, I've done every single thing on this list myself. But the funny thing is, most of these irrational habits actually make a lot of sense once you understand them. So today, let's look at 11 things that gamers do that make absolutely no sense until they do. We gamers often declare that we want branching scenarios, consequences, stakes, and player freedom. But paradoxically, if attached to these myriad possibilities is the ability to manipulate any outcome by simply saving and reloading to attain another, players will abuse this option often. So which is it? Do we really want choices and consequences, or do we just want the illusion of choice whilst being in full control of what actually happens? We like winning, we're loss averse, we have outcome anxiety, but it's a lot harder to savor an easy win. The psychological hack that is happening here is that we're using a game system, I won't mince words, we're cheating, but in a way where we quote-unquote succeeded in a fair instance of gameplay, even if it took us a great many to get the outcome. It doesn't quite feel like cheating, just a fair run of your 100th try. We inherently desire outcome control, and maybe we like it even a little more when the range of outcomes is wider. I've started Baldur's Gate 3 dozens of times at this point. I've completed one run, got far in a couple more, but started dozens, most of which I only got through early stages of the game. So why? It could be optimization anxiety, or just the joy of such deep character creation options. But I think the big one here is what I'd call the tyranny of possibility. In the very beginning of a game, every door, every possible future is available to you. I think restarting games isn't so much about wanting to replay the beginning of the game, as it is about wanting those possibilities back. As an aside, I think this is the psychological anchor used by many popular reincarnation anime. The idea of restarting and reopening life's possibilities is a deeply and widely held fantasy. We gamers have an almost supernatural hatred of unexplored maps. We will spend 20 minutes meticulously combing an effectively completed map, if so much as a pixel of that gray or black fog vexes our otherwise perfect picture. And I refuse to make a deep insight here. Call it Nick's Law of Gamer Dynamics. Gamer brains irrationally hate unfinished pictures. Permanent stat increasing items terrify me. How do I know which character optimally uses dexterity? Or what the hell dexterity even does in this game? Or which characters will die, betray me, or for some other reason abandon me? But even basic items bring out the inner miser I never knew I had. You can pry one of my 99 healing potions from my cold, dead hands, which I guess is now because I already passed to the hereafter, clutching my bag full of consumables that would have easily prevented this mess. But rare, non-renewable items like elixirs? Maybe I'll use them on the final boss, and only if I'm super certain it's the final boss and there are no phases left. There's a number of reasons we do this. It could be a scarcity worry, where being too reckless with our consumables will leave us in a bind later when we really need them. Or it could just be a matter of pride, as though spamming too many consumables makes the game too easy or unfair. Whichever the case, I know that for me, using items tends to sit as a last resort that I generally only do if a game twists my arm to. Gaming really does bring out the cheapskates in us. When we need food or medicine in real life, we don't question if we'll need it later. We eat the tasty meal in front of us without question. On brand during Steam's summer sale, gamers have the profound habit of buying way too many games. You might notice a pattern. The more options we have, the more we start worrying about choosing correctly. The ground truth of the gaming landscape now is that there are more games out there right now than you could ever possibly play. It's a slightly uncomfortable truth, especially during sale times, as it can be really tempting to buy a lot of games. But we can easily overlook how much time each one of those games needs and how full your schedule is. Are you buying the games that you want, or are you buying the gamer you wish you had time to be? Okay, I'm just telling on myself with this one. The truth about almost every single RPG I play is that I don't play for the challenge, and gameplay is pretty low on my hierarchy of what I care about. I play for the story, the characters, the vibes, and just immersing myself in a virtual world. So why? Why without fail will I choose among the hardest difficulties available to me? I think it's a pride thing. I'm a reasonably competent gamer. I all too often find myself grinding through the hardest version of the game purely because I'm too proud not to. And maybe I like when games force me to engage with their systems. It's a conflict of interests. I want to be challenged and I want my time respected, and I suppose that balancing act, for me, is the struggle. Save Scumming says, I don't like that outcome, let me try again. Looking up the outcome in advance says, I never trusted myself to choose correctly in the first place. Seriously, do we delight in non-linear games as much as we say we do? The through line as I see it is that we like there existing many possibilities and paths, but we are insistent to attain the outcome we actually want, and by any means necessary. The pattern as I see it is that we're not avoiding choices, we're avoiding the outcome of making the wrong choice. I've talked a lot about decision fatigue before, and this might be one way of alleviating that feeling while still enjoying games that have choices. If I asked you to go outside and pull 1,000 blades of grass for me right now, you would tell me to go f myself. But you didn't let me finish. You see, for your troubles, you'll receive a sticker that reads, I pulled 1,000 blades of grass. In seriousness, I don't mean to throw shade at achievement hunters, and I've been one myself in times past. Achievement hunting taps into our need for feeling accomplished. It's satisfying to do difficult things, like climbing a mountain and having veritable proof that you persevered. If you truly derive joy from attaining those stickers, that's as good of a reason to chase them as any. But it was a key revelation for myself that I didn't. I was checking boxes, and happily, for me, I'm an achievement hunter no longer. Joy is valid, but when our completionism feels compulsory, that's when it might need reconsidering. There are gamers among us who will grin and bear games that they've long burnt out on. Many of us can be bad at willfully dropping games. Linked to the Zeigarnik effect, this is a cognitive stress people feel when not being able to finish tasks. This is a hard skill to learn, and dropping games, especially consciously, comes with a kind of guilt. Some of us can be thoroughly burnt out, but still able to push through to the end credits. Others will drop the game quietly and lie to themselves that they'll get to it at some point. And this might be the strangest contradiction yet. Isn't it funny when we refuse to drop entertainment that's no longer entertaining? It's been my personal commitment to be more cutthroat with games that make me feel this way. Again, we say we love options, but we have a problem. What if my build isn't the best possible build for most possible situations? Options are fun, sure, but the strongest possible options are more fun. Thus begins the death spiral where we perceive choice to be a drawing card, but immediately want to shuffle the onus of that choice to an online guide instead. Sometimes we just want to play without making hard, irreversible choices. In a previous video, I've talked about maximizers, people like me who need to make the best possible choice with every choice. The pattern emerges again. We don't want fewer choices, it seems, but we want to make the right choice, or in this case, have someone make that choice for us. We've spent this whole video talking about controlling our experiences, but sometimes the hardest thing to control is knowing when to let go. Refusing to finish a game that you're really enjoying, mind you, is a kind of separation anxiety. When we're not ready to say goodbye to this world or to these characters, our final act of rebellion is to just freeze the entire damn universe in amber. Paradoxically, I've unwittingly dropped many games this way that I've still never gotten back to. It's a lie we tell ourselves. We can choose to never progress that save file, but in so doing, we're still disengaging with the world and those characters that we were so afraid of losing in the first place. It's a bittersweet truth that the only way out is through. You're not benefiting your long-term relationship with the game simply by refusing to beat it. Beat it, carry it with you, and the next experience will be waiting for you just over that horizon. At brass tacks, these quirks aren't necessarily problems, and they aren't entirely irrational either. Mostly they're just our best and sometimes silly efforts to try to solve our own pain points. The quirkiness and differences of each individual gamer is one of the most beautiful things about gaming itself. Even when we're all playing the same game, we're never really having the exact same experience. This is Nick BRPG. If you enjoyed this video, I encourage you to go to my video description where I've linked video essays I've made that more deeply dive into many of the topics I've touched here. And hey, if you really enjoyed it, consider helping a small YouTuber out with a like, comment, or a sub. Your support helps me out a lot. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one.